right, if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Weekend reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's go to our main conversation for today. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's recent overseas travels have sparked speculation and criticism due to the lack of transparency about his whereabouts.
After visiting China, he unexpectedly appeared in London, leaving Nigerians wondering where he was in the interim.
Very true. And this is not the first time Tinubu has been evasive about his location, having previously taken unexplained trips to France and Saudi Arabia.
Very true. And the presidency's secrecy undermines the office and disregards citizens' rights to know where their leader is, especially during times of crisis like the petrol shortage and floods.
This pattern can be compared to that of his predecessor, Muhammad Buhari, who also took extended foreign trips without accounting to citizens.
Democracy demands accountability, and that Tinubu's actions diminish the office of the president, which requires transparency and trust. Now to the question: where has President Bola Tinubu gone? Nigerians ask.
Well, that is a rhetoric question. Where is our president? We still have Barrister Fansufeli. Thank you so very much for putting up with us, and we truly do appreciate your time. But let's get into this matter. And the question there is, where is our president? But before now, there's a viral video making rounds in different social media platform where it said that we could actually see from the viral video someone that looks like Bola Ahmed Tinubu walking out of the Lindo wing of St. Mary's Hospital in Paddington, London. Do you think some of these things are false? Because the handlers are saying it's an old video, but this just resurfaced. It's all over the place.
Yeah, whether it's an old video or a new video, the president's whereabouts, the president's itinerary is supposed to be in public domain at every point. He was in China for how many days? We need to know. From China, he moved to, because he visited Prince Charles.
Yeah, we saw the picture.
But we're not part of what the public, we're not part of what we're told that he was going to do. He spoke to Nigerians in China, I think that on the same day he left China and all that. So, but the truth is that the report from the media is not even complete. They should add to that report that does the president, each time he travels out, does he hand over to the vice president? The other one is a shade too. People are not talking about it. But no, there are constitutional provisions as to what should be done when the president is away. Buhari was not following all that whilst he was there. He will travel to go and treat ear problem, travel to go and treat all kinds of ailments. Doesn't hand over power. But back to the case under reference, that has to do with his whereabouts. It is not tidy for a president to be away from the country, or for a president or the handlers of the president to inform the public the president is going to China, for example. And after the assignment in China, he's not seen in Nigeria and he's not seen anywhere. Then he begins to do other kind of movement in any other place. It's wrong. The reason it's wrong is, well, if anything happens to him in those other, because as far as I'm concerned, that look like you are absconding from your duties. If anything happened to him there, Nigerians cannot account for it. The lead cannot say this is where he told us he is. You understand? That is the reason at all times he's a public property. At all times, the citizens must know where he is.
But does the president even realize that he is a public property?
I don't think he realized that.
Now, let's say from this point, assuming Ajuri was still handling his position, don't you think Ajuri would have actually...
No, Ajuri was there now when he went to Saudi, from Saudi to Netherlands before the jet got spoiled. Then from there, he took a commercial jet to...
Yes, that's
Ajuri was there.
Now, Ajuri is... Okay, so you're saying that assuming Ajuri was still in office, there will still be no difference?
There will be no difference. It's what, see, anything Ajuri will go out to say must be approved. You understand?
Yeah.
By the chief of staff. Because our general works directly with the chief of staff. So the chief of staff must clear things they have to do. So part of why he left too was because of them fighting and as to what should be, what the police should know, what the police should not know. So in this regard, the chief of staff, which is Bajabi Amina, should take the blame. Okay, yes, for not managing the president's itinerary and informing the public adequately.
All right. While we do some more analysis and discussion, we'd love to take a break now, but we'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere.
Yeah, don't go.
All right, you're still watching Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Just before we went for that quick break, we were discussing on the whereabouts of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we had Barrister Fansofeli, who was, of course, saying his truth on that particular matter. But just joining us right about now, we have High Chief Peter, former IPAC chairman. Welcome, High Chief.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We truly do appreciate your time.
Morning.
Yes. So we were actually discussing this, and the rhetorical question is, where is our president? Of course, we know too well that he visited China for some diplomatic mission that he went for, and from there we saw him having a handshake with King Charles in UK. And Nigerians are asking, where is our president? Do you think that's a good enough question?
Yeah, it's a good question because the president is no longer a private citizen. He woke up one morning, decided to join a political party, which because we don't have independent candidacy in Nigeria, purchased a form, went through primaries, and then put the application before Nigerians that he wanted to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Went through an election that was, very, very competitive. And I don't want to talk about the outcome of the election because a lot of people believe that the outcome does not really justify what we have. Then he was declared the winner. Now he's governing one of the most the populous nation, black nation in the world. And he's traveling out of the country. There's no handover of power to the vice president. We don't know where he is. There's deception and lies. There were pictures put outside to make us believe that the president is doing well, whereas the president was at St. Mary's admitted in a ward at St. Mary's hospitals in London. See, we cannot run a government that is not transparent and you expect a result that will enrich the life of the people. A government that cannot see that the truth must be put in the public and so that Nigerians can debate it. Nobody's worried about the sick. Nobody's 100% well. If you are using glasses, you have impairment. If you have this one, so all of us have. We want everybody to get well, or those who are not sick to remain well. Health is not the challenge. I'm not discussing whether the president is sick yet. I always wish him well not to be well, but he has shown some level of irresponsibility to the fact that he can travel out of this country and do whatever he likes, and do not expect any Nigerian to talk about it, and do not expect us to be able to investigate or interrogate the decision he's taken. Do you know the president attending private or public hospital outside this country is an issue of national security? Do you know that? Do you know with chips being planned, with all the things people are doing all over the world now with AI and all that, we have a president in the hand of foreign nationals who could be agents of those countries, who could manipulate the activities of our country. And yet you are not putting such information in the public. The president has not acted right. His handlers are worse. The media handlers are also believing that Nigerians are fool, that they can manipulate and bring deception to cover the truth. The deceit in how the president travels, what the president goes to do, how is the president staying far away from home, is so pathetic that I look at them. Maybe they don't know what governance is. Okay. Governance is not a reverse to self-protection. Government is an open process where you protect the right of the citizen. And Constitution had made it so simple that you provide life, protect life and property. And you look at the flooding in Borno today, we have not had our president said anything. A major flood that have really destructed every activity, socioeconomic activity in Borno State. So we must interrogate this process, what the president is doing and what the presidency itself is doing. Is against the general interest of our people. And they are not acting, in a way that will protect our sovereignty and give Nigeria an integrity, despite the amount and enormous resources that has been spent on Aso Rock Villa. It has become a conduit pipe for every president that comes. We should have our military doctors, our professional doctors. Nigerians have the best doctors in United.
All right, I think we have some technical glitch there.
Okay.
Accumulated themselves resources to get enriched. They have phobia to believe that Nigeria has competence to be able to handle its own issues. They have phobia against that. So we must sit down well, discuss with them, and Nigerians must stop being docile. Nigerians must demand for their rights.
All right.
It is our right that our president tells that the president continue to furnish us with all his movement, with what he's doing to be able to protect himself, to protect our secret of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and his health. I've seen people get sick. I've seen my father get sick. I know how vulnerable sick people are. So we must have our DSS, our NIA standing by him to protect and make sure that he does not divulge information that will put this country under a very delicate situation. I'm not happy with what the president is doing. I'm not happy with what past presidents have done, going to take foreign medical treatment at the expense of the Nigerian taxpayers who cannot access basic amenities like public health, like roads and all that. So we have a problem where a major problem at hand due to lack of accountability and transparency. And it is the citizens that must speak up. It is the citizens that must demand that good governance and that the government we are not beholden to the government. The government is responsible and beholden to us to continue to furnish us details information about the movement of the president. If an American president is traveling today, you will see it on the website. They will announce it when he will arrive, what time he will leave, who he will greet, who is going to have dinner with. How do you make such a public issue a private one?
Thank you.
Thank you.
As soon as you are taking. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Barrister Evans Ofeli, when there's a saying that without the knowledge of a thing, abuse is inevitable. Mm-hmm. Now, democracy means accountability, and President Tinubu needs to understand that he is accountable to the citizens of Nigeria. At this point, looking at the way some of the codes are being rough-handled and not handled with care, are we going to say, even if the president does not understand what democracy means, his aides and those around him are trying to teach him what it means to be a president?
Well, but you know that from history, this president don't like to be accountable right from time. If you look at the information surrounding his emergence as a president, it wasn't that of accountability. Okay, look at the scandals around him before his emergence. It wasn't of accountability. So this is not a president that likes accountability, and that is the unfortunate part of it, the whole thing. But all the same, the system favored him, and the system have always favored him. Look at the road in Lekki, the Lekki toll gates that were paying tolls. That road, it was not up to 10 kilometers. We're going to be paying toll for 25 years until the NSAS protests disrupted it. And later he became president. People were asking questions about the contract, the concession of that road for many years. I said, so many persons, so many lawyers have written, let's see the contract. How do you pay toll for 25 years on the road that is this? How much did you use to construct this road that we're going to pay? So it's a president that accountability is not one of his high points. Okay. The way he brings in governors of Lagos State and depose them at will couldn't have been accountability. So I don't know why we're expecting accountability from this president who has never been accountable to anybody. So we are going to live with this for a long time. At the end, we have a National Assembly. Most of these things are gross misconduct. And what did the Constitution say about gross misconduct? Impeachment. But will you find, is there a Fabio that want to meet the idea, or who? The National Assembly that want the idea of calling the president to question, or summoning him when he returns to come explain why he told the country was going to China, and then after China, you didn't see him again. Or the last time he traveled to Saudi Arabia, from there he went to Netherlands. All those ones we didn't know until the presidential jet got spoiled, that he has to use commercial jet to go to another place and all that. We got to know all that from premium times. Okay? Even the purchase of the new jet, when the public outcry was that I shouldn't buy it, when they bought it, we didn't know until our jet was seized somewhere, including the new one. That's when we got to know that they've even purchased it already. The yacht, the same thing. The Escalade, the same thing. So this is not a president that is accountable to anybody. And all these are gross misconduct. And it gets away with it because you have no National Assembly, functionable National Assembly that can actually, by the doctrine of separation of power, that can hold him accountable to some of these activities.
Okay. Thank you, Barrister Evans. Some social roles comes with social responsibilities.
Yes.
And looking at the pattern that played out during the time of Yar'Adua, and Nigerians are raising concern. His health was kept secret till he died. And that was in the year 2010.
Yes.
And it says, though looking at the way the current president is going, Nigerians are beginning to read some meanings into the pattern. At this point, is it not advisable that the president or the presidency come out to the open about the health condition of the president?
You are supposed to know the health condition even before ever he's even elected. Yes, because he has to go through some screening and some tests. The DSS on that of all the NIA and the rest of that. So it's supposed to know, but Nigeria is a country where all those ones are covered. Do you know that Buhari's own problem, it used to be ear problem and some other issues, there was no time the presidency handed over that to the public. It was the media that dug it out. You understand? This one too, the same thing. It's the media that's going to pull it out someday. You know exactly what the issues are. You understand? So at the end of the day, what you have is you have people who are not accountable, who are not responsible, leading a country. So if you have those kind of people leading a country, why should you expect the country to turn out well? It can't turn out well because you don't have the right people there. You don't have the right electoral process to even midwife the right kind of people. And then you have the wrong persons, you expect the wrong person to provide the right results. It will not work.
All right, very true. Hi, Chief Peter Ame, I would love to ask you this. Do you think this could be a problem of a systemic issue? The President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has come up to say that no one made him the president, that he spent so much to get himself into office, and maybe that could be the reason why he could abruptly, take on travels that Nigerians need not to know about. So how do you think we can salvage the situation where those in power stay accountable to those they are leading? Can you unmute, please? Yeah.
The only way we can get this right is when we start to have election that is free, that is fair, that is credible. And when citizens are when citizens are awake to their responsibility within a democratic setting, because most times the docility of citizens also contributes as a major contributor to the embodied nature of those who are in power. Because when you have a protest where you find out that just 0.5% of the populace came out, then those 0.5% will be suppressed. But if you have a mass protest demanding for good governance, government will not have the capacity to suppress that kind of number. Then government will wake up to do what is right for the people. All over the world, protest is a gap building in a democratic system between elections. If you have that system in place, what we do, we wait for elections every 4 years. And we always get it right because we don't know the pre, the during, and the post-election the actions that should be taken to strengthen our democratic system. And for those who said, the president who said he spent his money, elections are expensive anyway. That could have been an advantage to him. that he came in and he's not going to be, he'll be spending money to pay back some interest. But the fact that it's not an advantage because he has no competence to drive the necessary kind of development that Nigerians require, because that would have been an advantage. That I don't have nobody to pay back any interest. I don't have anybody to harass me that I'm owing them. I brought myself in to work for the Nigerian people. But what you don't have, you can't give. The president has not structured anywhere. He has been led by irrational, impulsive policy decisions, unplanned policy decisions, unstructured policy decisions. He talks about CMG buses, he can't provide them. He talks about building roads, he can't do them. He talks about, but the only thing the president has been so good at is that spending our money on luxury. This is what everybody can praise him for. We can give him applause for doing these things by buying a yacht and buying a Escalade, buying a private jet, having a 200 convoy car going to Lagos. These are things he has done. The president have talked about a Resanya report, which would have prescribed that the agencies were cut from agency ministries and parastatals are merged together and cut up to 161 of them, which would have also saved, based on the report, has saved Nigeria a lot of money between 2012 to 2015. That he talked about it, I was going to do it, but he has ended up having the highest number of ministers since 1999. He has ended up creating a new ministry that is totally unnecessary. Because if you have an agricultural ministry and you are creating Ministry of Livestock, it would have been a directorate under the ministry and strengthen it and ask the director to report to you. You would have still generated the same result. It's about the capacity to manage people. It's about the competence to drive a process, even in the lowest and smallest unit of its form. It is not when you make it large that it becomes productive. It is when you can make sure that what you have is competent, is driven competently to be able to generate results. The president has shown that, and also shown lack of empathy. There's a disconnect between what he tells Nigerians to tighten their belt and what he does. They are budgeting money for incentives, for budgeting money for cars for the vice president's wife, for the president's wife, for the president's house. He has shown that he is insensitive to the plight and sufferings of Nigeria because there was this impulsive policy decision about how they call it, fuel subsidy, that have driven the price of transportation for ordinary commuters on a daily basis who are earning below 30,000 naira to about 300%. That has also contributed as a major contributor to the food inflation we have in this country. Because in such a situation, there's what you call in economics cost push effect. That cost that is built up for certain reason because of certain reason, and every goods and services have to bear and have that kind of cost, transferred into it. So that because if I'm selling a basket for 30,000 and I was transporting it and production and everything was around 22,000, I'll make profit of 4,000. I will do other things. And then now the transportation has increased it to 27,000. I'm not going to sell for 30,000. I'm going to increase the cost of the sales. So the president is not sitting down with his economic team, whether I have one or the ones he has are also like him. Nobody can tell why we're in this mess, because this mess is something that is actually impacting negatively on the life of the ordinary Nigerian man on the street. We cannot be here and be praising if the president have done well, I will be the first to be here to say it. I talked about the local government financial autonomy bill that was put by SN Fagbemi to the Supreme Court, which is something I wrote thesis about in my school. I'm proud of that, but I'm saying that the president have no economic blueprint to take Nigeria out of the woods. What he has is the economic blueprint to enhance the standard of living for himself and his friends. He must be able to sit down and see that he was not put there, or he did not put himself there, or he did not get there, or was not put there by INEC only to entrench, to do power entrenchment, or to do tussle with people, or to try to better the lives of his friends and colleagues. This country is our country. We have nowhere to go to. We are not leaving this country for anybody to destroy it. We are going to be here. We are going to continue to speak, and we are going to work so hard to make sure that next election we don't have people grabbing, stealing, and running with ballot boxes to now put us all of us in this quagmire that we have today, in a society that cannot provide for its people, in a society that have made the vulnerable more vulnerable, that have made the poor extremely poor, that have made people out of school not to have opportunity to go to. I went to public school. I sat down with, I can mention the name of the children of people I sat down with in class. Then public school was good. Today there's a segregation in our public school. The rich people, even the little bit comfortable ones who are not rich, they will go to private school, because no matter how small the private school is, the motive is for profit. So the person will try to want to do better. But in public school today, teachers are not well paid. We used to have public school where you have the headmaster's quarters in the school, when the headmasters can survive based on that. Today is no longer there. There's civil strike for the university. Ask me, what is that to asking for? That the university will be improved. The president has spent that money on luxury without answering absolute demand. So we don't have to sit down here and then try to polish a situation that is already getting worse, or try to present a situation that we need to be able to speak so that we can revive our society. The National Assembly is culpable in this, because the National Assembly have abdicated their authority and their right and driven it into an executive legislative arm, because it is not a joint session. It's not a joint arm. It's a separate arm that is supposed to do check and balance so that one does not override the other, so that one does not overbear the other's authority, so that it can be able to protect the interests of Nigeria. That is why the people who did innovation about judiciary in the legislature and the executive was able to do like that, so that we can keep ourselves in line and make sure that the interests of the people are paramount. But the National Assembly has become a spineless, bootlicking institution that only approve money without even looking at the cost effect, or whether the money is being approved is good for productive, it's going to be used for productive use and for the development of the country. We are now seeing a situation when there's a flood, the share rise. When people are sick, the share rise. When people want to transport, the share rise. It is now a rise sharing palliative economy, which cannot take any one of us out of here. I don't believe in sharing money to Nigerians. I believe the government must have the audacity to create an enabling environment where business and when young people can thrive economy, where we can have an enterprise economy, like we're on Enterprise TV today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The time. I actually wanted to ask you, of course, we won't want to hold brief for the president, and but looking at how unpredictable analysts are, right, in the type of Nigeria we run today, if the president discloses his ailment, let's assume he is not feeling fine. If he discloses the ailment and let Nigerians know, okay, this is what I'm going through, same analyst who would say the president would have disclosed it but didn't disclose it will say, yes, you are not good enough to even lead us in the first place. So how do we manage this situation such that people like you and many can help those in authority to always bring for themselves clean without prejudice?
Well, I'm just getting to know that from you now that analysts are not predictable. I don't know that before. You are the one saying the analysts are not predictable, but you see, part of the responsibility of a leader is to at all times say the truth. Okay? Be clear to the people. One of the attributes of leadership is your ability to not only move people from where they are to where they ought to be, but also move them with integrity of purpose and with the truth as the, anchor, the hallmark of what you represent. Because that in itself comes with a lot of responsibility. You understand? If you check through the Holy Writ, through history, the greatest leaders that led mankind were people who were truthful to the purpose and truthful to the objective. Okay. The moment you start to keep things secret, it's an indication that you lack capacity, you lack integrity, and the tendency that you will lead them well to where they ought to be will not be there, because the led will not be clear. The led will not know where you are leading them to when you keep some things in secret. You understand? The Prince Charles that he went to visit, his health condition, that he has cancer, is before the public, not just the United Kingdom public domain, but globally.
And also his daughter-in-law.
Yes. So these leaders, why can't you, look at how they, now, are people calling for Prince Charles's head because he revealed information? People should know what is wrong with the president at all times. Whether some persons are going to use it for negative purpose, or whether analysts, as you said, that are not predictable, will use it for any other, whatever it is a secondary consideration. The major thing is that are being led in truth, and they are being led with integrity. That is the only way you as a leader can demand integrity for them, from them. That is the only way that you can say, I have led you in truth, integrity, and purpose. I therefore demand your citizens' corresponding obligation to be the same way as it is enshrined in the Constitution. But where you don't have that, it means he doesn't have a right to tell the citizens to be truthful or not to engage in secrecy and all that. We must have a country where we're led the right way. People are not led the right way. That's why you have insurgency. That's why you have kidnapping and all that. These people who go to kidnap is because they don't know where the country is going to. They don't know the future. They don't know anything. They take to crime and they do all sorts because of the way they are led. And when they also sit down and reflect, they see their leaders doing the same thing that they are doing, stealing, embezzling money, resources meant for the entire country. Everything is wiped off. You understand? Now, this country is together today because of some families that have decided that no matter what, they will not be involved in stealing and their children will not be involved. That's the only thing left in this country. The day those set of persons compromise, the country will be gone.
Thank you, Barrister Ivan Sofeli. Okay, hi, Chief Peter. Let's get your parting shot as we call it a wrap this weekend.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. I went offline. I don't know.
Oh,
okay. Okay, so can we get your parting shot?
For me, I think my brother there has spoken on my behalf. Because when you go abroad, these people enter public transport, they do all sorts of things. You met with Prince Charles, who is sick, who is maybe sick, and made his health status public. There are critics that will say, "Oh, you are sick. Why are you still king?" That is normal. But being on the side of truth, there's no time that anybody who always win, because there are people who also see that you are being treated unjustly. But the fact as it is now, everything is in secret. And Nigerians, for it to work, I hold Nigerians responsible. Nigerians must start to wake up and start to stay away from the illusion that there's somebody coming to help us. God put us here to help ourselves. That's why in this call, he put something that is called brain, so that we can use it to calculate and then be able to. That's why we see when we go to expressway, we don't jump into a moving traffic. So we must be able to sit down as a people to define what we want, removing primordial sentiment like tribe, religion, and all sorts of things that have acted as impediment to our development and our growth. If we remove all those regions and remove all those of our discussions, and we start to talk about capacity, competence, merit, and then Nigerians will prosper. We start to put people into office, and people must take elections serious. Whether you go to vote, the person you voted for didn't win. It doesn't matter. You have performed your civic responsibility and your conscience is clear that you believe that this person is supposed to represent us. Don't go and sit back and be calling people on election day and say, did you vote? Who is winning? No, you can't do that. This is your responsibility to make sure that Nigeria work for the future generation. Because for the past, since our independence, everybody will have come. After a successful government, we found out that they get worse. We must get it right going to 2027.
Okay.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, Barrister Ivan Sofeli, let's get your parting shot as we'll call it a wrap this morning.
Well, the leaders of this country, especially the president, need to turn a new leaf. In the days of yore, they used to caution children who misbehave to sit up. And the elders that do that, to say, you, don't fight, don't be involved in activities that are untoward. Make sure you contribute your positive activity to grow the country or to contribute positively to the country. Engage in your civic responsibility, do the right thing, and ensure that you are at the positive side of life. But today, when I have leaders whom children should talk to, yes, I shouldn't be telling the president. The president is older than me.
Very well.
You understand? I shouldn't be telling the president to turn a new leaf. Well, here am I now being conscripted by circumstances to do that. And I'm saying the president should turn a new leaf. He should lead by example. Okay, there is no way he will make such. He spoke to Nigerians in China And he told them that the decision he has taken is a harsh one, is a difficult one, but is for the progress of the country. Is in the long run that the country is going to benefit from it. Is that statement the truth? Is it a lie? Whichever the way you see it, the responsibility of a president or a leader is to ensure that he does the right thing. And a president that have done consistently the wrong things to a point where children are now calling him to turn a new leaf is one that have actually disappointed the nation. He took an oath to defend the country. Defend that country on the tenet of the Constitution. Don't allow children to come out and tell the president to do it. And that address, he addressed the protesters. He should go back to readdress the protesters and give an order to release the 240 Nigerians that were arrested during the protests. And the 10 that are being prosecuted, the Attorney General of the Federation should go and discontinue those cases. Because protest is a right, it's not treason.
Very well said. And of course, the wife of the president said during the inauguration that they don't need Nigeria's money. They have more than enough money. But in 6 months down the line, it stated, records have it, that she had spent 710 million naira on foreign trips alone in 6 months. Well, that's the situation we found ourselves, unfortunately. But we'll continue to pray and hope that the president is well, and wish him well, and hope that he comes back home to Nigeria and attend to the many issues that we have ravaging the country. I'd love to say very well, thank you to High Chief Peter Ame. Thank you so very much for your time. We truly do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Basif Ansufeli, thank you as always for being part of our show today. Most importantly, for you watching, we'd love to say thank you to you wherever you've done that around the world. We truly do appreciate your time and promise we would never take you for granted. But please do well to visit us at enterprisetvnews.com and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Igwebike.
Choma Okoye.
On behalf of the entire team of Enterprise Television, thank you for watching. We'll see you next weekend. Bye-bye from us.